Giving them those 10 minutes, they were feeling seen and heard. And that's when I realized, okay, it's for any individual very important to have this feeling of being seen and heard. And once that is accomplished, which of course cannot be done by fake things, it has to be like an authentic 10 minutes for them, like my whole being, my whole heart for them.
Hello everybody, welcome to SWOW, the strongest woman of world, is a global talk show where we celebrate strength and achievements of women from all across the world. In fact, every woman is strong. Simply realize the fact that if they decide not to give birth, the total human existence will cease. But that is just one of their strengths. Women are achieving extraordinary feats in everything that they choose to pursue. It is time to bring such inspirational stories out in the world so that many more women and girls will choose to find their strength and achieve whatever they wish. And today's guest is a passionate individual from Netherlands, one of my favorite and also happiest country in the world. She took a brave decision to quit her government job to pursue her passion of teaching young people. Since then, everything she did was for young people, right from problems they face in their teenage and creating programs to address all those problems. And also she works with organizations, schools on how you can actually coach them and also draft customized programs for young people so that actually they find life to be at ease. She also authored a book, How to Manifest My Dreams, detailing on how you can actually transform wisdom to happiness. She calls schools as a miniature society where kids learn a lot. However, in majority schools, education is all about what must be done instead of what each individual really wants, where she's actually focusing on and helping a lot of young people and also parents. Help me to welcome Bianca Blom. Hi Bianca, how are you doing?
I'm very fine. Thank you for having me in your program.
Really, thank you so much. You have, I can only say that, the kind of journey you had. I mean, I just wanted to ask one thing, right? Why quitting a government job in Netherlands and getting into a teaching profession? What was the thought process behind it?
Well, it was, first, when I was already young, I already believed, okay, I'm going to be a teacher one day. And I don't know why, but that was this strong feeling. And then I thought, okay, but if I want to be a teacher, you have to have like experience of life. So I can only be a teacher when I grow older. And but as soon as I started with my work at the government, I was so basically bored with the job, and it was more like an administrative job, and like the interaction was only with my colleagues and not with other people. And then I decided, okay, I can flip-flop like maybe already, and maybe I don't need to have the life experience I thought I would have. So I just quit my job and I dived in.
And what was your age like when you took such a decision?
I think I was 22.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Most of the people at this time, be it men or women, they kind of look for how to achieve a lot of money at that time more than thinking about pursuing their passion. Now, when you took this decision, was it an easy decision, or is it something really difficult for you to really kind of pursue afterwards?
I think for me, at that moment, it was an easy decision. I mean, it was, I felt some fear as well because, oh my God, what am I going to do? But I experienced when I was around 20, I had this physical problem with my breath where I really got this wake-up call, like, are you living like authentic life? Are you showing yourself to the world, to your friends, to your colleagues as you, or are there like some filters on my being? And that was the cue to change my life and to start to meditate, to ask people to help me to explore myself, life, my wishes, my desires. So at the moment I started to transform into this teacher job, I already had overcome some obstacles. So the decision itself was very easy.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, see, you have been working with so many teenagers and young people, right?
Yeah.
And many of them, including me, I'm talking about, right? When we get such a thought at the time, we rather surrender to the fear, right? Now, what kind of, in your work, what kind of thought process you kind of implant in these young people for them to take the thought instead of surrendering to the fear? They should actually pursue what they think they really love, just like you did for teaching. What kind of thought process is required?
Well, the first moment I started as a teacher, of course, my mindset was, okay, I have to teach them something about economics and mathematics, because that was my background. I studied economics when I was younger. But I guess already from maybe the first day, I realized, oh, these are people. These are human beings. This is not me as an authority on economics or mathematics teaching something to the others. So my mindset diverted into, no, we are equal. Maybe you are 12 and I'm 22, but we are on the same ground. We have the same soil. We are the same beings. So, and that's changed my relationship with the teenagers as well, with the students, because they were like, oh, you take me seriously. And that became my focus, to take them seriously, and not as a student, but just as a human being who is exploring the world and also has to go to school. And so I always try to combine like sort of meditation in my classes with mathematics or economics, and always try to make it like school is also life. It's not just learning here. There is so much to learn and to explore, and to like emotions, like conflicts, struggles with other teachers. So by the years, when the years went by, I started to develop more and more a focus of, I want to see the children as authentic beings. And that changed the way they experienced my classes as well.
Oh, okay. First thing, I need to say, I've never heard, somebody added meditation to economics or mathematics. And really a big kudos to you thinking about it. Till the age of 36, I didn't even know what is meditation, and I never experienced. Only once I started learning, in fact, I did meditation at minus 25 degrees in Himalayas. And I realized, what the hell, why I was not knowing this, education much earlier. If I would have known, probably I would have been a much more balanced individual. I would have been, kind of pursuing what I'm doing right now at the age of teenage, right? So I want to really appreciate your, sincerity in getting the authenticity from these kids. Now, when you're doing all this, you're saying that kids are really able to come out and express themselves because they are taken seriously. Now, that situation is not there in many countries, basically, right? Mm-hmm. Then how do they come out and express themselves and still pursue their passion, right? What do you suggest?
It's a good question. And let's see if I can answer it, because there are so many children in the world and there are so many different situations of which most of them are not aware of, unknown. So from the place where I'm coming from, and I am based in the Netherlands, and the journey I've experienced and the children I've met, I always advise them to surround themselves with people who are truly listening to them. So it could be your parents, hopefully, could be a neighbor, could be an older brother, an uncle, the man from the bakery or something. A place where you really feel, okay, he or she is really listening to me. So that's sort of your backup, because there are enough places, and I experienced in my own life as well, where people don't understand me, or have problem with the dreams or the wishes I have, or once I had this idea, I had to go to Africa, I want to live there. Well, not everybody understood my dreams, but there were a few who really took time and effort to invest in understanding what I was doing. So that's my first try to find your own tribe. That's one.
Your tribe is your vibe.
Yeah, that's where you can have influence in. And the second of all is, and that's a little bit hard to say as or difficult to say as an advice, because if I say trust yourself, that is beautiful, but not everybody is feeling the trust. So I always recommend start a diary. Write things down. So maybe it's not expressing it to the whole world or to the little community you're living in, but you're expressing it in your own book. Yeah. And make it a secret diary if you want to. If you know it's difficult to share my dreams or whatever I experience. But the most important thing is that you express what you experience. So basically when you use a diary, and I used many, I think I wrote 20 diaries when I was a teenager. Wow. It was my place to express myself. And to take whatever I was feeling or experiencing serious. So I think that would be the most important advice, to take yourself serious. Wow. And then the trust will come later.
I love this. I totally love this. Instead of, cutting down our emotions and our expressions, surrounded by the people who doesn't care, find out your tribe. Now we can find tribes all over, right? I mean, everybody is on internet. Find out your tribe and start expressing. And second is absolute full open expression on the book, on the diary, right?
Yeah.
So this is really amazing. And I mean, where does your journey has started? Why, what kind of things have triggered in your mind to actually start this journey other than passion, right? There is something generally people say, there is some kind of pain which pushes people to take the decisions and then move ahead.
Yeah, I think that's true as well. The pain is a force, like it's a life force as well. And I think early, when I was maybe 4 or 5 years old, I saw life as beautiful. The sun was shining, positive, and I had a brother. He was 1 year older, and he was struggling. Like, he was pushing it. He was putting his heel in the sand and gave resistance to my parents. And I didn't understand him. I thought, why are you doing this? So later on in my journey, I understood more why I had these feelings about, well, life is full of sunshine and light, while my brother was holding more the shadow part of life. And I think I strongly believe that's why we are brother and sisters. But that already gave this trigger of how is it possible that we are from the same family and he experienced life much more difficult than me. So that gave me this seed of, oh, I want to know more about life. I want to know how human beings, how does it work? Is there a sort of hand guide where you can look into, okay, this is me and this is how I work? So I think it's already early on, and especially the life events, like my parents got divorced and eventually my brother passed away because of his life struggles. So there were many life events for me to sort of kickstart my personal development as well, and to question life and explore it as well.
I'm so sorry to hear about your brother. Yeah, I mean, I can see the pain is, especially when you're losing brother at a younger age, it is definitely painful. And as you said, it's not about what we actually face, but how we respond to what we really face. It really, matters huge. And this current generation really needs to hear this, because right now, if somebody doesn't like your post on, Insta, people get angry, or probably on Facebook, because, I mean, it is up to the people on what they're responding to, what they receive is, that's literally going to define, how they're going to have the well-being. And I understood you also kind of wrote the book, right? How to Manifest My Dreams. What is this book all about? How do, people approach this?
Well, I read a book called The Spiral of Creation, and it's written by a Dutch guy, and he says, like every apple tree, there is sort of I think the English word is a premonition. There is this seed in the apple tree which says, okay, I'm going to produce apples. So this is a natural flow of the seasons, but also life. So he translated it to human beings. If we all are destined for our purpose, if we all have our own unique purpose, then it's in our self. So we are destined to produce those purposeful work or relationships or whatever. And that inspired me, because if I reflect back on the life events and my brother, I was like, I want to sort of give children and teenagers the possibility to explore life. It's not only school and parents and you have to learn mathematics. I want to open up their horizon and see there is so much more to explore than only work, and you have this unique purpose. So I called this author and I said, can you make a book for schools, and I want to sell it and I'm going to work with it. And then he said, well, I don't have this expertise with children or teenagers, but please go ahead and make it yours. So then I was teaching still the mathematics and the economics, and meanwhile writing on the book for children in schools. Like, this could be a subject for schools to implement in their curriculum.
I strongly believe this should be done, because as I said, I don't know, numerous times I felt the fact that I should have known about all this in my school. Now that you brought up, I think I want all the viewers to make sure to click that link. I'm going to put that link in, in the description. Make sure to, go through it. I mean, you don't want to go at 40, 50 and then think, oh my God, I missed this in my teenage, right? Now you have an opportunity. People like Bianca has gone through the research and worked with hundreds of different kids with different expectations. But at the end, you're a possibility, like an apple, right? The apple has a seed, has a possibility to grow. You can actually create something. Find out your purpose. And Bianca, I just want to really ask, what kind of efforts that schools should keep? Because I know that you're also kind of helping schools in terms of how they can implement, several programs. What kind of initiations that schools should, bring forward to have more engaging kids, giving them the space to express, and, do you have any insights on that?
Well, a perfect example for, maybe teachers are watching this program. A perfect example is to implement just 10 minutes in your, like in the Netherlands, we have 50 minutes of economics. So I saw a class for 50 minutes, and then the first 10 minutes I used to do the meditation. Of course, I didn't say that it was a meditation, because then those teenagers, they go crazy and they are like, no, that's boring.
Yeah.
But I paid attention to, first of all, how they were feeling, like, how are you feeling? And then I paid attention to, is there someone who cannot continue with the day? And then like 30 children raised their hands because they wanted to speak. And I was like, whoa, everybody told me they were tired, they were bored, they had an argument with someone else, they were scared. And I was like, wow, there is so much going on with them. And like throughout the year, I guide them through those 10 minutes to express themselves and to learn them to express themselves, because it's not an easy, like if you never express yourself, then it's difficult to do. So I gave space, and I think that's the cheapest. That's the bell of the school.
I love that.
So I gave space to them to and you don't need a book for it. I mean, space, time, like 10 minutes. It's free. And what I experienced was that I only had 40 minutes left, but they worked like crazy. They were like, wow, let's do this. And so there was so much more of a collaboration between me and the children, only for those 10 minutes.
So what I understood from you is that you're allowing first 10 minutes for them to express, so that they come into the right frequency to receive the information. So you're using the remaining 40 minutes to actually make them receive a lot more than what they would do in 50 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially I realized after doing this for a couple of years, by giving them those 10 minutes, they were feeling seen and heard. And that's when I realized, okay, it's for any individual very important to have this feeling of being seen and heard. And once that is accomplished, which of course cannot be done by fake things, it has to be like an authentic 10 minutes for them, like my whole being, my whole heart for them. Then they feel safe. And once someone is feeling safe, then they are able to learn and grow. So that's like a couple of things together to...
Two really very important things have come out. One, for all the students to express, irrespective of whatever is their surroundings, find your space and then express. And very important thing is teachers allow those students to express themselves and give the time, whether you call it as a meditation or give them the space of making only interactive time where they speak, they take the lead. Then obviously that will reflect in their also whether we can, some countries they call it as grades, or some countries it could be even called as their marks. So that would definitely reflect in the their end outcome, right?
Yeah, absolutely, really, yes. And the other thing is, to be an authentic teacher, you have to give yourself time for expression as well. So once you are a good role model, it's easier to do it in your classroom as well.
Wow, this is something really amazing. I would always want to have such a space when I was a kid. I mean, pretty much when I learned, it was like, anytime I don't do something, a teacher will come and say, ha, like this, with the stick. I mean, in India, it's more like that. They punish kids a lot. I mean, I'm telling at that time. And it's just, oh my God, okay, it's better I don't speak, because if I speak some wrong answer, I'm going to be, taking the punishment. And so I just want to ask one more thing about this. A lot of young people watch this video, right? Now, if they have to have the, courage, one is to express themselves for them to identify their authentic self. But to have the courage and then pursue what they like, pursue what they love, pursue their passion, what kind of thing that you suggest, Bianca?
I guess I stick to the time. Give yourself time and space. And when I was young, I wanted to do things like, oh, I have this idea, I want to do it now. I have this wish, I want to have the apple from the tree like tomorrow. I want to pick my purpose. But it needs time. And maybe that's like not a really positive, how do you say, like a sort of a bad cliffhanger, like you need time. But of looking my journey, yeah, it takes time. Plus, you never know what happens next.
Yeah.
So walking around the corner, you never know what happens next. So also be aware that there is a force much bigger than you also living a life. And that means that there's sometimes you get the right answers or questions maybe, or the books or inspiration at the right time. And that again is the trust I was talking about earlier, that trusting that you are on the right spot. Even though your spot doesn't look that flourishing or bright.
Yes, yeah, I totally agree with that, and I can relate to that. I mean, these young people, like you said, they really, many of them I'm talking about, they look for immediate gratification. Means they do something, they want to have the result. And unfortunately, social media gave that kind of a platform where gratification is immediate. You put a post, you get a like, or you don't get a like. So people should not really connect that particular format to the real life, where the great things takes time. Good things need your efforts consistently. So this is a brilliant point that you actually made, Bianca. And there is at one point of time where I used to think, I was not heard and I was not seen, but that became a kind of motivation for me to be heard and seen. And that's pretty much why most of the kids cry. What kind of things we should do as parents? Because I know that you're working with so many parents, right? What kind of things you suggest to the parents to really go forward and give the kind of space for the kids?
First of all, as a parent, strongly believe or surrender to the journey of parenting and give yourself credits, because raising up children in the era we are living at this moment is really challenging. So acknowledge that parenting can be really challenging. It has a bright side, definitely. Acknowledge the bright side as well, but also acknowledge that you're a human being, you're a man or a woman with your own history, with your own background, with your own issues or journey. And together with someone you love, you are trying to raise a new being. Yeah, that can be that can be challenging. So give yourself the acknowledgement that, first of all, that gives so much pressure of the raising of your child. And I think second, make time to listen to your children. And that sounds so easy. But it's difficult, because you see in your child, you see yourself reflect back to you. And children are the most beautiful, pure beings, and they, without knowing, they just trigger you and put the place on the sore spot. And yeah, it happens.
I have a 7-year-old kid right now, Bianca.
Yeah.
And I had my own moments where I used to think, man, it's a little bit frustrating. I mean, I'm talking about very, very early stage of parenting, where I used to think, I mean, like, I was literally kind of, I used to come back home at around 3:30, 4 a.m. every day. And it used to be really kind of, pressure was there on top of me all the time. And I used to think, man, it's literally too much. Once, like you said, I started really taking off the pressure when I decided these are all my issues. And when this kid is actually growing up, she may not be perfect, so be it. Even I'm not perfect, so I need to do my best. I can give her the best education that I can give right now. And the moment I said, I mean, the pressure has gone down. It took some time for me to really get used to that. But I started enjoying my time with her. And, I started imitating her with the kind of energy that she has. Even till date, we do some videos together, just, she likes it. And I kind of get surprised by the way that she, brings in the energy. And like you said, these are all the bright side of it. But if you can take the pressure off, parenting is only on the bright side. And in fact, I'm actually we're also doing on the channel something called Parenting Simplified. So these are really very important points that you made. We need to take the pressure off, and saying that, parenting is such a challenging task that we are actually, executing it. Once the pressure off, actually parenting is beautiful.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. And a great example of how it also has to do with mindset, and also has to do with recognizing that you bring in yourself, and the child is just giving it back to you. And it's okay to feel frustration. Because there's also, I speak a lot of parents, and they feel they have to keep their frustration in secret. Like, it's not allowed to talk about your frustration, or like, I'm not able to guide my child at this moment. It's difficult. And start to speak up also, like this expression I taught the teenagers in the classrooms, like, start to speak up, just ventilate what's experienced, and take your feelings serious. And sometimes it's only necessary to just express, and the pressure goes off. And it doesn't mean it makes it more easy, but you have more space in yourself.
In a way, it makes it easy, because at our home, I tell her one thing very clearly. Whenever I lose my cool, if I shout at her, first thing is, I just go and say sorry. Hey, sorry, but we use a formula like this, saying that if I shout, it's my problem. It's my limitation, which I will figure it out and cut down for the next time. It's not that you're at fault. But see, if you can take the message, if I'm angry, there is a reason, there is a trigger. So that trigger could be something like, she must have kind of messed up the floor with full of paints. So see if you can kind of clean it up all by yourself, then you can do anything. But me shouting is my problem. Mommy shouting is mom's problem. You crying is your problem. When we kind of created this thing, I could not imagine. She stopped crying pretty much. Like, more than 80% of crying is down. Just because you said, oh, you cry is your problem. So this is something really, really amazing stuff I've seen, as a parent with myself. But what you're saying is absolutely true.
Great.
And, yeah, I mean, this is really amazing. But I mean, I want to ask one thing, Bianca. We have really covered education, young teenagers, and the schools, and also parents. Is there any one advice that you have to the society as a whole, right? That if we can do something, it can really change the way the kids are going to grow up. Do you have any one suggestion?
I think it's already in line what I said, but give yourself space and time to follow your heart, because that's the beat. That's the only one beat you have, and which you can hear. You have to follow. And sometimes it doesn't make sense, because back in 2015 I decided I need to go away, and I went for a sabbatical in Central America, and I was like, what am I doing here? But it was this rhythm in myself who was giving myself the impulse to go, and I also didn't know why, but afterwards I got more, like my whole work flip-flopped from working with teenagers to educating adults who are working with teenagers, and the parenthood journey and motherhood guidance were accelerating. So this break, like this sabbatical year, was totally necessary, but beforehand I didn't know. So follow your heart.
Thank you. That is an amazing thing. Follow your heart, have the courage, give the space, give yourself time. Make sure you're also giving such a space for other kids. And in fact, whether you're a school, whether you're a teenager or a teacher, Bianca has been doing an extraordinary level of research on this area, even if you're a parent. So make sure to follow her handles, which I'm going to keep it in the description. And Bianca, I can say real massive gratitude to you, and thank you so much for being part of the show, because this is really and very, very impactful information, which is really simplified, really simplified, like an easily taken, actionable items. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. I'm very happy, and it gives so much energy. So looking at your big smile,
it gave me a lot of energy, and I started feeling really so much engaged, because the kind of topic you brought in, one that made me a kid. I went back in time, and you actually concluded to a place where I started feeling my kid in the conversation. So it's like you covered my entire lifetime. So thank you so much. That's the reason for bright smile. So thank you once again, and all of you, if you have not subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe below. And also, if you think it is useful for anybody else who can really make a big difference in that kid, that parent's life, make sure to share. But otherwise, we say thank you so much, and bye bye, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.